Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We are in the book of Leviticus. We are reading about the Holiness Code, which we actually started yesterday with the Holiness Code in chapters 17 and 18 of Leviticus, and today 19 and 20. But as we will hear in just a moment in verse 19 verse 2, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. So the idea of why are there all these rules? Because if we're going to follow God, and if you are going to be my chosen people, the Israelites, then I expect you Israelites to be special. So these were commandments given by God to his people, the Israelites, 3,000 years ago. Are these still things that are good for us to practice today? Yes, for the most part, they generally are. Although we don't sacrifice animals anymore, and women are actually not chattel anymore, or not owned anymore. So many of these rules, I would say, yes, they still apply to us today. Some of these laws and ordinances, I would say, yes, well, no. So if we're going to read through the Bible, though, we're going to read through the whole thing, including chapters 19 and 20. So, chapter 19, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to all the congregation of the people of Israel, and say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. So, why are you doing this? Because you're going to be a special people, living differently than the people around you. Verse 3. You shall each revere your mother and father. You shall keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to idols or make cast images for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. And as we've said before, you will hear over and over again, keep the Sabbath and honor God. These are some of the most important ones in the Bible as far as the God is concerned. As he's talking to the Israelites, he really wants them to get that they need to honor him and that they need to keep the Sabbath and make the seventh day different than the other six. Verse 5, When you offer a sacrifice of well-being to the Lord, offer it in such a way that it is acceptable on your behalf. It shall be eaten on the same day you offer it, or on the next day, and anything left over until the third day shall be consumed in fire. If it is eaten all on the third day, it is at all on the third day, it is an abomination. It will not be acceptable. All who eat it shall be subject to punishment, because they have profaned what is holy to the Lord, and any such person shall be cut off from the people. Verse 9, When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not strip your vineyard bare, or gather the fallen grapes of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the alien. I am the Lord your God. So going back to the idea, when they have a sacrifice, this is an opportunity to go to the temple and eat meat, and to have a party, and to celebrate, and to give to God, and to spend time together eating meat. The first day's fine, second day's okay, third day, everything left over has to be burnt up. Which, of course, we are like, yeah, meat the third day is not going to be too good. So it makes perfect sense with our modern knowledge of germs and bacteria that, of course, nothing should be left unrefrigerated for 3 days. But then this next passage about when you reap the harvest, do not reap to the very edges. Leave something for the poor people to be able to come and reap the edges and take some of your extra for the poor and the alien. And over and over and over through God's law, we hear God very concerned about the poor and the alien. There are far more verses about that than about who to have sex with or who not to have sex with. Just saying. Verse 11, You shall not steal. You shall not deal falsely, and you shall not lie to one another. And you shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not defraud your neighbor. You shall not steal. You shall not keep for yourself the wages of a laborer until morning. You shall not revile the deaf, or put a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am the Lord. And again, This code, this ordinance, this law that God has given to his people says you need to look out for other people. If somebody is deaf, if somebody is blind, you should be helping them, not hindering them. If you have a laborer, you can't be holding their money. You need to give them the money that you owe them. Like, these feel like very fair things, and yet it's very easy to defraud and to cheat and to exploit. And God is saying, nope, do not be exploiting people. Verse 15, you shall not render an unjust judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great. With justice you shall judge your neighbor. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people, and you shall not profit by the blood of your neighbor. I am the Lord. And it says that the slanderer, they're not sure what that word is in Hebrew, and the do not profit by the blood as do not stand against the blood. So once again, do not defraud, do not harm, do not hurt other people. Verse 17, you shall not hate in your heart any one of your kin. You shall not reprove your neighbor, or you will incur guilt yourself. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. So later on in the New Testament, they ask Jesus, what is the most important commandment? Jesus says to love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind and strength. And what is the second one? To love your neighbor as yourself, which really sums up the entire law. As we're reading through these things, why are these laws these laws? Well, first, to be obedient to God. Secondly, to be holy like God. And thirdly, to be considerate of the other people around us, to be loving our neighbors, loving God, loving our neighbors. Verse 19, you shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your animals breed with a different kind. You shall not sow your field with two kinds of seeds. You shall not put a garment made of two different materials. So people who are like, oh, we're going to get very caught up about every single law in the Old Testament. Well, you can't have a polyester wool blend. You cannot have two kinds of seeds or two kinds of animals crossbreeding. Oh, no. Can't be doing that. Verse 20, if a man has sexual relations with a woman who is a slave, designated for another man but not ransomed or given her freedom, an inquiry shall be held. They shall not be put to death, since she has not been freed. But he shall bring a guilt offering for himself to the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. A ram is a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering before the Lord for his sin that he committed. And the sin he committed shall be forgiven him. Which, of course, is very hard to read as a woman, and as we don't have slavery, and we should not have slavery. But if a man has sex with a slave woman, then he doesn't have to be put to death for adultery. He just needs to bring a sin offering and offer a sin offering. Verse 23, when you come into the land and plant all kinds of trees for food, then you shall regard their fruit as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you, it must not be eaten. In the 4th year all their fruit shall be set apart for rejoicing in the Lord. But in the 5th year you may eat of their fruit, that their yield may be increased for you. I am the Lord your God. So again, the main point is to be obedient to God. And yet it's very interesting that when you do plant a plant, such as a cherry tree or an apple tree, generally speaking, you do not expect to have any kind of harvest from that tree for the first few years. You're going to wait at least 3 or 4 years before you're going to have a harvest from any given fruit tree. But what's interesting is they're saying in that first year that you actually would expect a crop, the 4th year, that crop goes to God. And then your 5th year, you can actually eat that crop. Verse 26, you shall not eat anything with its blood. You shall not practice augury or witchcraft. You shall not round off the hair on your temples or mar the edges of your beard. You shall not make any gashes in your flesh for the dead or tattoo any marks upon you. I am the Lord. So, again, these are laws given to the Israelites 3,000 years ago. To round off the hair on your temples, obviously I get my hair cut pretty regularly. So, but I am also not an Israelite 3,000 years ago. But people who want to say, oh, this is God's law and we have to do it, you have to watch. Are they really trying to keep every single rule and every single law, or are they picking the ones that particularly bother them and saying, you can't do that? But then they turn around and do other things, such as cutting their hair, or wearing polyester cotton blend, or getting a tattoo. And of course, we don't make gashes on our flesh for the dead, but some of these things that are being commanded have to do with all of the peoples around them that had other religions or cults or practices. And so God is saying, you are not those religions, you are this religion. And as this religion, this is how you're going to behave. Verse 29, do not profane your daughter by making her a prostitute, that the land may not become prostituted and full of depravity. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. So yes, you cannot be making money off your daughter as a prostitute. Verse 31, do not turn to mediums or wizards. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. You shall rise before the aged and defer to the old, and you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. Verse 33, when an alien resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the alien. The alien who resides with you shall be to you a citizen as the citizen among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And of course, I'm trying to avoid all kinds of politics, but right now there's been a lot of people posting about aliens and how we should be looking out for them and taking care of them. Because once again, if you're going to try to live by the Bible and try to be what God wants you to be, God calls us to love our neighbor as ourselves, including our neighbor who is not of our type, who is an alien, a stranger, who is an immigrant, who has come to live amongst us. That we are also called to love those people. You shall love the alien as yourself. So we are to love our neighbors as ourselves. We are to love aliens as ourselves. For you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Verse 35, you shall not cheat in measuring length, width, or weight or quantity. You shall have honest balances, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You shall keep all my statutes and all my ordinances, and observe them. I am the Lord. So a hin is a measure of liquid, and apparently it's 1.5 gallons. And an ephah is a dry measure. It says about 21 quarts. So I'm like, how many is that? That's like a little bit more than 5 gallons worth. So bigger than a 5-pound thing. An ephah is a pretty good amount, I would guess, of flour. Chapter 20. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say further to the people of Israel, any of the people of Israel, or of the aliens who reside in Israel, who give any of their offspring to Molech, shall be put to death. The people of the land shall stone them to death. So death penalty, if you sacrifice your child, then you should receive the death penalty. I myself will set my face against them, and will cut them off from the people, because they have given their offspring to Molech, defiling my sanctuary and profaning my holy name. And if the people of the land should ever close their eyes to them when they give their offspring to Molech, and do not put them to death, I myself will set my face against them and against their family, and will cut them off from among their people, them and all who follow them in prostituting themselves to Molech. So do not sacrifice your child to Molech, and if you do, you should have the death penalty, and if nobody gives you the death penalty, I'm going to do it myself. Verse 6, if any turn to mediums and wizards, prostituting themselves to them, I will set my face against them, and will cut them off from the people. Consecrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Keep my statutes and observe them. I am the Lord, I sanctify you. So as we've said, consecrate, to sanctify means to make holy, means to be set apart, means to be special. We have special dishes that we only use for special occasions. Israel is to be a special people, set aside from all the peoples around them, that God has made them special. All who curse father or mother shall be put to death. having cursed father or mother, their blood is upon them. Verse 10, if a man commits adultery with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. So in the New Testament, when Jesus is brought a woman and told she was caught in the very act of adultery, we notice that it's only the woman that is brought to Jesus, not also the man. And this is very clear that both of them are to be put to death. And so they come to Jesus and they say, so, we found her, we caught her in adultery. What are you supposed to do? And Jesus famously says, let the one among you without sin cast the first stone to kill her. And as the older ones leave first, and eventually the younger ones also leave, and she is left alone with Jesus, and Jesus says, I do not condemn you, go and sin no more. It is both of them who are caught in sin, but only one was brought. But according to the law, both of them are to be put to death. But according to the mercy of Jesus, we are to repent and to be forgiven and to go on and try to live a life as righteous as we can, knowing that we're going to fail, but at least attempting to keep God's law and to live righteously. Even though we all fail, we are at least supposed to try. Verse 11, the man who lies with his father's wife has uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be put to death. They have committed perversion. Their blood is upon them. If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man takes a wife and her mother also, it is depravity. They shall be burned to death, both he and they, that there may be no depravity among you. If a man has sexual relations with an animal, he shall be put to death, and you shall kill the animal. If a woman approaches any animal and has sexual relations with it, you shall kill the woman and the animal. They shall be put to death. The blood is upon them. If a man takes his sister, the daughter of his father, or the daughter of his mother, and sees her nakedness, in other words, has sex, and she sees his nakedness, it is a disgrace, and they shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He has uncovered his sister's nakedness, and he shall be subject to punishment. If a man lies with a woman having her sickness and uncovers her nakedness, he has laid bare her flow, and she has laid bare her flow of blood. Both of them shall be cut off from their people. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister or of your father's sister, for that is to lay bare one's own flesh. They shall be subject to punishment. If a man lies with his uncle's wife, that he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness, they shall be subject to punishment. They shall die childless. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is impurity. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They will be childless. Of course, after the brother dies, the tradition was that you were supposed to marry the brother's wife so that there could be children for your brother's family, and to keep his lineage going, and to give the wife a boy to take care of her as she got older. So again, all of these laws, all of these rules against incest, against close relationships, against things that just didn't seem right to the Israelites at the time. We have these rules about who to have sex with, and there's a whole set of them, who not to have sex with. There's a lot more rules about looking out for the alien, not defrauding, about being a holy people and doing what God has called us to do. Verse 22, you shall keep all my statutes and all my ordinances and observe them, so that the land to which I bring you to settle in may not vomit you out. You shall not follow the practices of the nation that I am driving out before you. Because they did all these things, I abhorred them. But I have said to you, you shall inherit the land. I will give it to you to possess, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God. I have separated you from the peoples. You shall therefore make a distinction between the clean animal and the unclean, between the unclean bird and the clean. You shall not bring abomination on yourselves by animal or by bird or by anything with which the ground teems, which I have set apart for you to hold unclean. You shall be holy to me, For I, the Lord, am holy. I have separated you from the other peoples to be mine. A man or a woman who is a medium or a wizard shall be put to death. They shall be stoned to death. Their blood is upon them." So right there at the end sums up what I was just saying. Why is this even here? God is saying you are to be special. You are to be holy, set aside, different from the peoples around you. And this is what it's going to look like. Look out for the alien. Look out for the people on the fringes of society. Do not eat things that are not clean, but live a way that is righteous and good. And what does that apply to us in modern society? We are not Israelites. We are not in the promised land. And yet, I do want to live in a way that is pleasing to God. I do want to conduct myself in a way that is maybe just a little bit different than the people around me. Not to say that I'm all better, but to say I want to please God. I want to follow God. I want to hear what God is commanding me to do. But we don't have women as chattel. We don't have slavery. We have a way different understanding of even just what is clean and not clean. I frankly like eating bacon, and I don't think by eating bacon that I am going to get cut off from the people because I'm not an Israelite 3,000 years ago. But I also do think that I need to try to conduct myself in a way that is right before God, that I can stand before God and say, I am trying to be faithful. And of course, it comes down to love God, love other people. Love the Lord your God, love your neighbor as yourself, love the aliens as yourself, love and serve other people. And I think if you do those two things, if you love God and love others, then the rest of it can kind of sort itself out. Because all of us fall short, all of us sin. And our denomination, we say we are captive to sin and cannot free ourselves. But thanks be to God who comes and covers us with his grace and frees us from this body of sin and promises to be right with God and with him forever. So I will continue to just do my best, knowing that I will fail, but do my best to follow God, to love God, and to love other people. And I hope that you are able to do that as well. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace, serve the Lord. Have a great day.